He retired to Le Havre, bought a boat and became an amateur skipper. His two sons Pierre and Jean had remained at Paris to continue their studies and came for the holidays from time to time to share their father's amusements. On leaving school, Pierre, the elder, 5 years older than Jean, had felt a vocation to various professions and had tried half a dozen in succession, but soon, disgusted with each in turn, he started afresh with new hopes. Medicine had been his last fancy, and he had set to work with so much ardor that he had just qualified after an unusually short course of study by a special remission of time from the minister. He was enthusiastic, intelligent, fickle, but obstinate, full of utopias and philosophical notions. Jean, who was as fair as his brother, was dark, as deliberate as his brother, was vehement, as gentle as his brother was unforgiving, had quietly gone through his studies for the law and had just taken his diploma as a licentiate at the time when Pierre had taken his in medicine, so they were now having a little rest at home, and both looked forward to settling in Havre if they could find a satisfactory opening. But a vague jealousy, one of those dormant jealousies which grow up between brothers or sisters and slowly ripen till they burst on the occasion of a marriage perhaps, or of some good fortune happening to one of them, kept them on the alert in a sort of brotherly and non-aggressive animosity. They were fond of each other, it is true, but they watched each other. Pierre, 5 years old when Jean was born, had looked with the eyes of a little petted animal at that other little animal which had suddenly come to lie in his father's and mother's arms and to be loved and fondled by them. Jean, from his birth, had always been a pattern of sweetness, gentleness, and good temper, and Pierre had by degrees begun to chafe at everlastingly hearing the praises of this great lad, whose sweetness in his eyes was indolence, whose gentleness was stupidity, and whose kindliness was blindness. His parents, whose dream for their sons was some respectable and undistinguished calling, blamed him for so often changing his mind, for his fits of enthusiasm, his abortive beginnings, and all his ineffectual impulses towards generous ideas and the liberal professions. Since he had grown to manhood, they no longer said in so many words, "Look at Jean and follow his example," but every time he heard them say, "Jean did this, Jean does that," he understood their meaning and the hint the words conveyed. Their mother, an orderly person, a thrifty and rather sentimental woman of the middle class with the soul of a soft-hearted bookkeeper, was constantly quenching the little rivalries